Since the beginning, we have talked about intercultural communication as the way a culture can affect the understanding, what is, how to do it, and reasons for doing it of a society in different events or issues. Culture and communication are strongly connected. In order to have a good intercultural communication, you must have the skills of self-awareness, self-respect, interaction, empathy, adaptability, certainty, initiative, and acceptance. As we know, communication is not only verbal but non-verbal as well. This kind of communication is even more important while speaking of different cultures trying to express their message. These non-verbal codes gather from the perception of personal space, time, and silence, passing through the physical expressions and the sounds produced by the mouth, all over to the physical appearance, smell, and sense of territory. When we are capable of managing all of those skills and codes, we are having an assertive communication between cultures, giving the importance that the connection between these two has. In this way, we avoid barriers. Most of the time, these barriers occurs between members of different cultures, when the people forget the connection between culture and communication. Another reason of intercultural misunderstanding is that most of the times people make ethical judgments as they speak that sometimes they are not aware of. The values that people hold affect both their communication, decisions, and interpretation of what others communicate. Some of these barriers are anxiety, assuming similarity and or difference, along with prejudice, stereotypes, ethnocentrism, and racial profiling. These last three words are very linked to many of the conflicts that are occurring nowadays. When we talk about racial profiling, we refer to law enforcement practice of scrutinizing certain people based on their race, ethnicity, gender, or economic status. Unfortunately, this happens very often in different societies when we title someone as terrorist only because of their religion, or we are scared of someone just because of their skin color. What these kind of barriers produce are only conflict based on discrimination that sometimes are fueled by the media of the place it is taking place. Along with culture itself, the media plays an important role in the communication between nations. As a matter of fact, the media is strongly linked to the culture of what is transmitted or released. It is in that point when the culture has a worth and power of what is shown that the bias occurs. As we know, bias is inclination or prejudice for or against one person or group, especially in a way considered to be unfair. This inclination is produced thanks to how the society perceives, believes, or has been taught about certain issues or events. For example, a conflict can have several points of view according to the place in which the information given by the media is released. They will show their side of the story only. Media bias can provoke important damage against the group of persons that has been prejudiced. If the strength of the media source is greater than the other side, it could have devastating results for the last one. A clear example of the role of media in these issues are the conflicts in the Middle East, especially in the Israel and Palestine conflict in Syria. The conflict between these two nations, Israel and Palestine, can be described in a general way as a conflict for territory that began after World War II, but had their antecedents centuries ago. What was at the beginning a protest between two nations that had different cultural background but were forced to occupy the same territory rapidly began in a horrendous war that still goes on and has taken away several lives. In here, we see how the importance of a good intercultural communication at the time of preventing wars, but unfortunately, the barriers created by these two cultures were bigger. The ethical judgments, along with the misinterpretation of what others communicate, led to a horrendous finale. However, what the international community knows about this conflict is very biased. As we have previously stated, the media has a key impact in the development of events. In this case, we can see how most of the time the coverage tend to portray Israel as a good side. This occurs due to the support this nation has of the Occident, United States. This leaves Palestine as the criminals, but as a matter of fact, they are really the victims too. In the media, we usually are shown as the terrorist attacks made by the Palestinian population against Israel, but we are not shown the other way around. We have been taught how these people use suicide bombs to end lives of Israelis as a way of spread terror on the territory. But as a matter of fact, this action is the only way Palestine has to defend themselves of the Israel military force. But again, this is not shown in the media. So how come we should know that, right? Even though media bias has a notable importance in the beginning and resolution of conflicts, it can also be pivotal to some other issues that also has an impact around the world, but maybe not in the same way. We're talking about their work in the Me Too movement. After the release of several sexual scandals involving Hollywood stars such as Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and Nassar, these men, who were once known as big celebrities, are now being scrutinized after their accusations on sexual harassment and sexual assault of females, who some of them were also Hollywood actresses. In contrast to the effect in the Middle East conflicts, the media actually help unmask these monsters and help various victims to speak up in order to make justice. The coverage in this movement has had trespassed any kind of barrier between cultures. The agony and oppression that a victim of sexual abuse feels is the same in every language, culture, and society. The movement, which we feel empathy for what others are suffering, no matter their gender, race, or religion, we are being good international communicators. This is the first step to end so many conflicts, not only between countries, but between individuals too. One step closer to being peace.